What's up, guys? I want to try to do the quickest video I can, show you how to do a remote start on your newer F-150 or F-250 without breaking the bank. Part you'll need is by iDataLink. It is an ALCA. All it is a bypass module. You don't need to purchase a full out remote start. All you need is an interface module. So right here, I kind of have it down low for programming so I can get to it, but we're going to sit it back here a little bit because it's going to get secured back here. That way we can see the connections I'm about to do. Now, like I said, I'm going to try to make this video as fast as possible. That way you're not getting bored with the video here. But on the ALCA, 4 wires are going to go here to the OBD / gateway module, which is actually right here. It's the OBD plug has this module connected to it. The module then has this one single plug to it, which is all the wires that are going to the OBD plug. Unplug it, kind of pull it through the front here. It makes it easy to get to, so you can make your connections. We're gonna have to run black from the ALCA, which is your ground, red from the ALCA, which is your 12 volt, brown red is can high, and brown yellow is your can low connections. These are the 4 connections you'll need. Now these connections, the can high and can low, we will have to connect it to 2 wires, plug it back into the module, program it, and then unplug the harness again, and then jump these to the second set of CAN wires, and then let it learn that, but it'll stay on the second set. So we do got to make 2 connections, disconnect them, and then make 2 more connections. So let's get started real quick. The first connection I'm going to make is ground. You should always make the ground connection first. Ground in this one is going to be pin 14. So if you're looking at it like this, well, actually, if we're looking at it like this, pin 14, not the far left, but the top corner here. It is this, like I said, it's not the far left wire, but it's the very next one. It's this black purple wire. So we're going to splice into that one. Now, however you make your connections, totally up to you. I know there's a big debate here, whether you use T-taps, whether you military splice, whether you solder, whatever you want to do. Me personally, I'm going to solder these connections real quick. So let's see. Now, for time's sake, I may edit the video a little bit to kind of speed it up. We'll see. But hopefully I can kind of keep it in a reasonable time frame here for those guys wanting to do their own system. So, ground connections, black going to black purple. Like I said, I'm going to solder here. I got the Milwaukee cordless soldering iron here. And same thing here, whether somehow you heat shrink it or tape it or whatever you do. If you tape it, use the 3M electrical tape. Very sticky, very durable. And it kind of folds really nice compared to some other tapes. I always just kind of double tape my connections just because, I guess. Alright, so there's my ground connection. I happen to be working on a 2018 F-250. So if you print out the diagram, the wire colors are going to be a little off. For 12 volt, they're telling you that it's a green-red wire. It's not. It's actually this gray red wire, which I'm going to test really fast to make sure. And just put one here. Like I said, the gray red wire. That's our 12 volt wire here. So, and that will be pin 14, which is in the complete opposite corner of where your ground was. The ground's here in 14, 12 volts is here in pin 24. I think I said it wrong originally. Pin 24 is your 12 volt, pin 14 is your ground. That's what it is. So let's tap into our ground wire the same way we did our 12 volt wire the same way we did our ground. These connections, these are considered the high-speed CAN connections. We are going to be doing pin 22 and pin 23 for temporary connections here. So our 12 volts here was pin 24. Right next to is pin 23. Pin 23 is going to be our temporary CAN high connection. CAN high is brown-red on the ALCA. So temporarily, just make a little tiny strip it back a little bit. I'm not even going to cut these wires to length until I do the permanent connection. Like I said, these connections are temporary, so don't solder them, don't go all crazy. I'll put a little piece of tape so when I'm plugging it back in, nothing touches anything. I'll probably just fold this tape over so I can easily rip it off. So something like that, a little flag hanging off so I can pull it right back off. Pin 22, right next to it, happens to be a purple orange. And you'll notice these wires are twisted together up here. All your CAN connections are going to be twisted at some point, so it's not always a guarantee, but that's kind of good. Kind of points in a good direction that you're in the right wires. If you wanted to meter the wires, you're really not going to see anything that's going to help you. If I'm not mistaken, the CAN connections, they're going to be very low voltage, probably 1.5 to 2.5 volts a piece. If you add them together, they're probably going to add somewhere around that 5 volt mark. But since they are data connections, I mean, it could be all over the place with your meter. But like I said, if you were going to meter them, they'll probably have a combined voltage of around 5 volts. I'm going to go by pin location and wire color. Now, of course, I always recommend metering your wires beforehand. I've done a handful of these vehicles. I finally decided to just make a video, so I feel very confident that the wires I'm tapping into are the right wires. But I can't stress enough the importance of metering before you make your connections. All right, so same thing, temporary connection, so I'm not going to solder anything. I'm going to put a little flap so I can pull the tape off easily. So that's it for now. CAN high, CAN low, power and ground. Yep, I'm good. Just wanted to double check. So I'm going to plug this back into the gateway module, which is right here, this little black plug right here. Right here. So let's plug back in. Now 2 more connections I'm going to make real quick are actually right here. Let's see if I can set my camera up for you. Bear with me, guys. Fold the panel down, your access panel here. The parking light plug, which plugs into the back of the parking light switch. That's where 2 more connections are. Our parking light connection and it's called a remote start enabled connection. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to pull this clip up and off the panel here. So it's just held on by a little alligator style clip Just pull it up and off, it'll give you the ability to kind of move it around and make the connections. From the ALCA, you're gonna need your white wire, your white black, and white red. Those are the 3 connections that are going up here to your parking light switch. So the very first connection we're gonna do is pin 11, which is gonna be the parking light wire. Parking light wire is going to be gray. All right, so looking at the bottom left corner, it's 1, 2, 3 wires over. It's that gray wire here. What I'll do is I'll meter it real quick. All right, so right now it's just kind of whatever. Turn the parking lights on, drops voltage heavily. When I turn the parking lights back off, it goes back up. So it's just a negative triggered. If you set your meter on continuity, it'll probably even beep here, let's say. Let me turn the parking lights on. So that's how you can test and make sure you're going into the right wire, which we are. See how that works. All right, so pin 11. Parking lights are going to be my white wire from the ALCA. This will be a permanent connection, so you can solder this one, or like I said, T-tap if you want, which I think it's absolutely disgusting to use T-taps, but hey, you do what you do. Now also, I'm sure you could probably see when I pre-wire my harness and all my wiring, I like to use a little bit of heat shrink and some of the Tech Flex to route my wiring. To each their own. I definitely recommend at least taping it all the way up. You kind of want to match the factory as much as possible. You don't want a bunch of different color wires running down and it's easily noticeable. You kind of want it to blend in a little bit. Now, does the Tech Flex blend in 100%? No, but I think it's kind of clean looking, so there's really no right or wrong there. Do your thing. But definitely bundle your wires together and make it look clean, that's for sure. All right, so there's my parking light connection. Take your time so you don't burn your new truck up and fuck something up. Now the next one's gonna be the remote start enable wire, which is pin 4. That should be black purple. So starting up here in the top corner, 4 pins over, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a black purple. We are gonna actually isolate this wire. So we're gonna cut it. And when the remote starts active, it's gonna isolate this wire, which I guess in return shows the vehicle what it needs to see to activate the factory remote start. So we are going to cut this wire right in half. And I absolutely recommend soldering wires that you cut in half. That way, if you have a failed butt connector or crimp cap or whatever, you just don't want a failed butt connector or crimp cap in this case, but since the wire is isolated, so make a very good solid connection here. White red is going to go to the connector side. So white red to black purple, but the connector side, not the vehicle side. So we'll cut this one to length here. And please guys, just use this video as a reference wire. I mean, a reference video. Don't use this as the primary source of your installation. For God forbid if I'm wrong, I can't be held responsible for you burning your car up and trying it yourself. So definitely print out all the required diagrams and definitely do your research. and make sure that you feel confident in what you're about to get into. They're not bad installs, but if you don't install on a regular, or if you feel unsure about something, maybe it's not the thing that you should be doing. Maybe take it to a professional. And I'm very sorry about the quality of the video. Like I said, I just grabbed my phone, I was doing this install, and I figured, hey, it might help somebody else out. So I will try to edit as much as I can out. That way it's somewhat watchable. If you guys have any questions about this install, please let me know. I'll help you out the best I can if the video doesn't help you all that well. Alright, so same thing, just double tape your connections. The reason I double tape is sometimes you get a little straggly, or like a little wire poking through or poking out, and you wrap a piece of tape around it, sometimes it pokes through the tape. Or like when you bundle them all together and they start pushing up against each other, sometimes they'll poke through. I'm just trying to prevent that. Will it happen? Probably not, but Murphy's Law. Can it? Will. So your job is to try to prevent it from ever happening. Breaking a sweat. Alright guys, so now white black. And I'm sorry about the parking light little dinger going off. It's when you unplug this thing. So white black is going to go to the vehicle side, which is also that purple white, or the black purple wire. I'm all over the place today, I'm sorry guys. Black purple vehicle side is what your white black from the ALCA is going to go to. So kind of twist the wires really tight. Anyway, you can see it, white black to black purple vehicle side. That's pretty much what we're working with. Now, I got some interior test tape. We'll tape up the whole thing so it all kind of matches in. Like I said, here's the remote start, comes down, connections, test the tape. We'll plug this back in. We'll go and clip my alligator thing back down. Holds our wires into place. We're good there. So let's get the module, because now we got to do some programming. Key on with the key. The light should turn red, then green, then red again. Red, green, red. And that's it. We can turn the key back off. Now, this is where we have to do moving those CAN wires to the second set of CAN. So we'll unplug this gateway module again, which is right here. Get to our CAN connections. We'll do one at a time here so we don't short anything out. So first we'll start with what we got here. Looks like our CAN high, which is brown red. We're gonna untape that from the gray orange. And since we're loosely put it on there, we can just peel it right off. We're gonna tape that connection back up. So now we're gonna move our CAN high, the brown red wire. We are gonna move it to pin 20. Pin 20 should be a white blue wire. So let's say 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. It is a white blue wire. Yep. Alright, so we're looking at the white blue connection here. Pin 20. That's what our brown red wire is going to go to permanently. So just strip the wire back a little bit. Take your brown red wire. We're going to cut it the length this time. Boom. You guys are going to crucify me on this video, I'm sure. keep trying to look down to see how the quality looks, and it's always blurred up, or it's focusing on something else, or falling down, or... All right, so brown, red, white, blue, permanent connection. So we are going to solder this one. Now, I don't know if I said it or not. The only requirement for this truck, whether it's a F-150, F-250, is it has to have a hood pin. If your vehicle does not have a factory hood pin, then it will not work. Easiest way to tell if you got a hood pin, put your key in, turn it on so the display comes on, pop the hood. If it says hood open, you're good. If it doesn't tell you that your hood's open, you're not good. Now, I haven't looked into, if you don't have the hood pin, like what exactly you got to do. I don't know if it's a dealer option that you can have turned on at the dealer. I don't know if you can simply add a hood pin and like pin a connection or a connector and make it work. I haven't looked into it too much. I know they got answers on the forums, but I haven't ran into the issue myself yet to know the ins and outs. And also, this works for the flip key style Fords, whatever years those are. I'd imagine probably 2015 and up, maybe even 14s, give or take, somewhere in there. But you got a key that looks like this, you're probably golden. But like I said, iDataLink's website will let you know if this unit's compatible as a standalone remote start. It will be the FM8 firmware, and it's just an RS solution remote start, or some people even call it RSR if you're using like a Viper unit or a directed product. All right, so can hide is connected to white blue, so brown, red to white blue. Now we're going to go right next to the pin 19. Pin 19 is going to be that white wire, and that's where we're going to connect our final can low wire, brown, yellow. So let's untape that connection. So we'll take that up. That way it never touches anything, no problems. All right, so pin 19, white wire. As you can see, these wires are also near the top. Let's see if you guys can see it. These white, blue wires are also twisted from the factory. That's kind of how you can kind of tell that they are your can wires as well. Same thing with these can wires. I believe if you meter them, their combined voltage should be about 5 volts if you wanted to go that route. So we'll strip this wire back. Cut this wire to length. So we made the final connection. Brown, yellow to solid white. And we'll solder this connection. All right, and this is what your final connection should look like. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I have red, going to gray red, and 24, 23, and 22 were my temporary can connections, so nothing connected to them. Now, 21 is a purple wire, or purple something, purple green. We're not using that. Now pin 20 is white blue. White blue is using my brown red. I got brown yellow going to pin 20, which is solid white here. And then down the line in the very corner here, my black purple. That's where my black ground wire is going to. So now we need to do phase 2 of programming, which should be kind of the same thing, just key on and off. Let me take this up. Like I said, interior tested tape. Kind of matches the factory. that module, the gateway module, which is plugged right. You can see it right through there. You got the panel up, but there's your OBD connector right there. This thing's attached right to it. This is the only plug plugged into it, and it plugs in closer to the bottom there. So you plug this in without climbing up under there. You'll hear it click. In. So we'll look at the module light again. Let's see if I can do this. Alright, so second round. Alright, so yep, second round, all we gotta do, key in, on. That should flash and go crazy. Key in, on. Should go solid green here in a second. I think. Oh, nope. Red, green, there we go. And then it turns off. Alright, so turn the key off. We should be done. Just to end this video quickly, I'm going to test it out. All you have to do from this point, you got the unit, put it in the back there, and there's plenty of harnesses back there. Just secure it very tight to one of those harnesses. But make sure, you know, it's nice to leave yourself some slack to kind of be able to get to it. And if you're wondering, I have a 5 amp fuse on my red power wire, just in case something happens, the fuse pops before the vehicle's 12 volt wire pops, and that way the vehicle isn't like disabled or anything. So I'm gonna fold this up for demo purposes. Like I said, I'm not leaving it like that. I just want to get this video over with because I'm sure you guys are probably fed up with the poor club. We'll close the door. Now for this to work, you gotta make sure all your doors are closed. Make sure your hood's closed. Stuff like that. Factory remote, you're gonna hit the lock button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We'll give it a second. There we go. I'm starting to kind of second guess myself for a second. This truck started up, it is running. And that's it, guys. That's how you add a remote start to your factory remote. Newer F-150, F-250, I believe it before Focuses, maybe even some other ones, but look into it. iDataLink, ALCA. Sweating like crazy. Done. Take it easy, guys. Thanks.